I don't really want to do the work today. I don't want to do the work today.
Wanna do the work today. I don't really wanna do the work today. I don't really wanna do the work today. I don't wanna do the work today.
Hey, hi, hello, how are you? I'm Pia and this is my second time filming this wrap up. Please don't mind, I am sunburned. I can't help it. And I filmed this like 2 weeks ago, but footage got corrupted, so now we're back. Today I'm going to be doing my March wrap up. I read 10 books in the month of March, which is always my goal every month, and I have not been hitting it, but I did this month, which was really super exciting. First book I read was Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson. This had been on my TBR for a while, and it was a thriller about this girl and her best friend Monday goes missing, and no one around her seems to really care or like notice that her best friend is missing, and it's set in about 3 different timelines. It's like before, a year before, the before, after, like it's quite a few timelines. It's kind of confusing. I think the author didn't really use that to her advantage, and I think that was unclear at times why we were getting jumped around in time a little bit. I really didn't like a lot of this book. I really liked the idea of it, but I felt that it was really slow going and I wasn't picking it up. I'm sorry, my cat is just... But the last 100 pages really wowed me. It had a great plot twist and stuff I did not see coming, and I really liked that, so that really did help the story for me. Today's emoji book rating is gonna be the cat, since she's right in my room and doesn't even care what's going on. I gave this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Next book I read, I listened to on audio, and that was Clockwork Prince by Cassandra Clare. This is the second book in the Infernal Devices. I've been really liking this book. It's kind of a niche sort of genre, which is like kind of historical urban fantasy, but I love it a whole lot. I've been really attached to the characters, and I basically like marathoned the first and second books to this trilogy, and I'm loving them so much. Can't tell you too much about it because it is a sequel, but this book features a love triangle, and that is my least favorite trope in the entire universe. The first books, the Mortal Instruments books, had a love triangle, which I hated, but this one blew me out of the water. I never knew I could like a love triangle, and I loved this one because I was so conflicted. I was like, do I want her to be with him or him? And at the end I decided, and I was kind of mad, but like I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. Cassandra books just keep getting better and better for me, and I'm so glad that there are still so many more that I haven't read. Next book that I read, I also listened to on audio. I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks recently, and that is Everything by Nicola Yoon. Last month I read The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. My cat again, sorry. And I really enjoyed it, so I decided to pick up, I think this was her debut. This is basically, if you haven't seen the movie already, it's about a girl who is supposedly has this like really bad disease where she's literally allergic to everything and just has to stay in her house for her entire life. Then she meets this boy next door, and then love ensues. Freaking cheesy. It's really cheesy and like unrealistic, definitely. There's like a part, like I don't want to spoil it at all, but there's a part where the characters go and do something, and I'm like, you're just gonna go and do that? Like, that's so big, but like it really was like alright. But it was fast, it was interesting. It reminds me a lot of the Gypsy Rose Blanchard kind of like scandal and the act and all that stuff, but I did like the like plot twists and things that were going on. If you're looking for like a really new and innovative, I guess this is a contemporary, yeah, it's contemporary love story, I wouldn't recommend this because it definitely does read very cheesy and old YA, but if you're looking for characters with not that much depth, just along for a fun time, then I recommend it, and I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Next book I read, I also listened to an audio, and that is Furyborn by Cassandra Clare. Did this hoe really just say the wrong name? I'm sorry, Claire Legrand. I love you. I was so pleasantly surprised by I was so pleasantly surprised by this book. I didn't go into it with the highest expectations because I hadn't really heard too many things about it, let alone too many good things. I loved it. This centers around 2 different timelines. They're like 1,000 years apart. It's about a Blood Queen and a Sun Queen. The Sun Queen is supposed to bring goodness and light into her town, and they both have elemental magic. Their town, their kingdom, I guess. And the Blood Queen, as you would probably imagine, has the elemental magic, is ruthless and a killer, so it follows 2 girls, the Sun and the Blood, and it was so good. I got so attached to these characters. I was really along for the ride, and I loved how Claire did her characters. I always talk about Claire like she's like a personal friend, but I have met her a few times. She really does write amazing characters. All of them were morally gray, which was amazing. I didn't feel like this one person was like a bad person. They were just trying to do what they needed to do, and like, yes, they did bad things and made mistakes, but it was like so incredibly enriched, and she really thought out and developed her characters, as well as the world and the magic system and everything. I really did enjoy this book. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. I cannot wait for Kingsbane. Like, please send me an art copy, even though I know it's coming out soon, but like I need her. She's so good. I haven't heard enough people talking about this, so please check it out if you at all are interested in the plot. Next book I read, I again listened to on audio, and that was The Enchantress Returns, the second book to Chris Colfer's Land of Story series. I listened to the first one a couple months ago, maybe December, but this obviously is the second book in the series. This is a series about these two twins named Connor and Alex, I want to say. They are twins, and their grandmother has always read them these stories from this fairy tale book with all like Cinderella and Snow White and Sleeping Beauty and all these fairy tales all in one. And one day they find out it's magic and they hop on into it and they get trapped, and it's a whole wild ride. I love middle grade fantasy, if you didn't already know that, and this just brought me so much nostalgia to reading like these really fun, adventurous kids books when I was younger. So I really wanted to continue on with the series, and I've been really liking the audiobooks. I definitely recommend them because Chris Colfer is the one to voice act them, and he does a really good job. But I unfortunately didn't like this as much as I liked the first book. I gave the first book I think 5 out of 5 stars. This one I gave 4 stars, and not to say that it's bad at all, because 4 stars is still really good. I definitely think that it wasn't as enjoyable for me and definitely just didn't feel like a 5-star read, but I am really excited to continue on with the series, and I can't wait to see what happens next. Next book I read, I actually physically read, so who's proud of me? And this is another Claire Legrand book, and this is Saw Kill Girls. Why do all my books have weird stuff on them? This is her contemporary, which is kind of like Stranger Things, Slenderman, kind of. Yeah, I don't really know how to describe this too well, but unfortunately I really didn't enjoy this book nearly as much as I loved Fairyborn. This was super slow paced, and the story just really didn't grip me. I loved the idea of it. I just really was not invested in it at all, and I just like did not want to pick this up, which I can tell is when I don't love a book, when I just don't want to even pick it up. But again, I will commend Claire on her characters. Her characters are super I was gonna say advanced, but like they're really well developed. I just unfortunately didn't really click with the story, so I wasn't too into it, and I gave this a 2.5 out of 5 stars. Next book I read, I listened to an audio, and this was For Everyone. So I really did like this speech essay thingy by Jason Reynolds, For Everyone, because it really was versatile and could apply it to any sort of dreamer who has any sort of dream ever. But I didn't read it. I think I would read it again, but I don't have anything else to say. Sorry, there's cars outside. Next book I read may or may not be my favorite book of the year. I have read some really good books, but I love this book so much. And you won't be surprised because I picked it out of my TBR jar and I freaking read it. She Speaks for Herself. She is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. She is the best book maybe ever. She is so good. I listened to this on audio because I had heard it recommended. See what my mother fucking... I had a little fight about this because she damaged my book. This is such an amazing book. I know everyone has been talking about it. I know that it was like one of the best books of last year. And I know that some people still have not read it. And I was included in that. I was like, bitch, this cannot be as good as everyone's saying it is. And I'm going to tell you that it was. It was everything and more. I cried. I laughed. I had the best time. I want to reread it, but I know I shouldn't because I'll just laugh and cry all over again. If you're thinking about it and a little too scared of the hype, because I tend to do that with books, I would say just try it. And that's terrible advice, but I definitely recommend the audiobook. It's a full cast audiobook, and it really immerses you in the experience and feels just so good. The last 2 books I, again, don't have with me. This I read on ebook. This is what it's called.
La douleur exquise.
That by J.R. Rouge. This is a small little poetry collection about kind of like breakups. A little emo reading it, but I quite liked it. I love poetry, and I'm trying to get back into reading some of it, and I really liked her writing style, and I definitely think that I'm going to pick more of her poetry collections up. I actually didn't rate this because I feel like I was reading it at 2 really weird times. Like I was reading it as like, I was reading it like poetry, like But then I was like in a mood. I don't even know what mood it was. I couldn't tell you. But like I was like, yeah. And I was like marking things and I was like, all right, you're a little melodramatic. I get melodramatic. Do we? We knew. It's good. I don't want to rate it just because of my like emotions. Yeah, it was a good time if you like newer poetry. And then the last book I read, I again listened to on audio. I listened to The Wedding Date by Jasmine Guillory. This is a romance about two people who get stuck in an elevator, and this guy, I think his name is Drew, he is like in LA or San Fran for the weekend, I can't remember which one, for his ex-girlfriend's wedding, who is marrying his ex-best friend, and his date bailed on him. Ends up sparking like just a conversation with this gal in the elevator who he's trapped with, named Alexa. He goes, hey, will you be my wedding date? She says yes, and then romance ensues. I liked this. It was very cute. It had some little steamy steam if that's your thing, but the relationship I thought was really cute. Though the characters were so annoying at times. They created problems for themselves, which every time I read romance, all they do is like create problems that like don't exist. They're like, oh, but like he's thinking about this, and like, oh no, like she thinks about that, like about me, and like I can't have her thinking that, and then they just don't communicate, and I'm like, come on. I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars. It was enjoyable, it was cute, and I liked that it discussed some more important topics than just romance, about body shaming and racism. I loved how that was discussed. It was fun, it was funky, it was fast. Anyways, that is all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know down below what you guys read in March, what you're planning on reading in April. My April TBR should be up later. Let me know that you didn't notice my sunburn, that you love cats, and that's all. I post new videos on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the things, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!